Life on Mars was one of the most successful television dramas of recent years. The idea of adding a time-travelling twist to a 70s-style cop show proved an instant hit with viewers and was followed by Ashes to Ashes. Gene Hunt, the macho detective with all the best lines, became an unlikely hero. It was a gift of a part for the actor Philip Glenister. He went on to star in Cranford as well. But first, here he is at full throttle as DCI Hunt. Philip Glenister, you are, whether you like it or not, typecast for life, aren't you?
I guess, yeah. But, well, as you said, it was a gift of a part, really. I don't think we expected, or I expected, the characters to become quite so iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, when originally we all thought he was going to be this really rather unpleasant sort of Jurassic Park-type detective from the past.
Well, he's kind of Jurassic. I mean, let's just, for those who haven't, those very few people who haven't seen him in action, let's just have a little look at DCI Hunt in action, shall we? Now, the guy that you were was a sort of Lord Scarman figure. He was the sort of liberal intellectual who was trying to kind of rein in the police.
Geoffrey Palmer, actually.
Geoffrey Palmer, yeah, well, absolutely.
As time goes
by. Indeed, no.
Yes, it was Lord Scarman, yeah.
What I was interested about, because originally this part was presumably written with a slightly ironic twist. Here is a sort of homophobic, old-fashioned, sexist, hard-drinking, smoking officer, and yet the nation has taken DCI Hunt to its heart.
Yes.
And I wondered if it's a bit, this is a provocative parallel, it's a little bit like Alf Garnett, written originally to be laughed at, and actually half the country thought, actually, we're rather with this guy.
Yeah. I think, I mean, from my point of view, I think the interesting thing about Life on Mars, particularly more than Ashes, because it's more recent, and the workings of a character like Hunt is it doesn't so much say what was 1973 was about. It kind of says more about what we're about in 2007, 2008. You know.
But it does. I mean, there seems to be quite a feeling in the country that somehow a lot of crime is out of control. That the police have too many burdens on them, too many shackles around them. And like it or not, I mean, there's a DCI Hunt for Prime Minister website, for instance. I mean, people are focusing on your character, aren't they?
Can you imagine Jeremy Clarkson as his deputy?
You and Jeremy Clarkson together, absolutely.
No, I agree. It's, I think, you know, from speaking to a lot of policemen who sort of have these sort of pictures of Hunt with a sort of like a halo above his head in the police station. I think this whole thing of governments and targets and all that kind of thing, and someone like Hunt would just throw that kind of out.
Yeah, and people like that notion. And the police, really, as you were suggesting, you become a hero. I mean, you were in a car the other day, I read, and there's a little bit of speeding going on by your driver.
Well, it was a slight exaggeration by one of the tabloid newspapers, but no, it wasn't anything really. It was a bit silly, you know, being 2 miles over the speed limit. But no, it was.
But you wind down the window, and the policeman looks in and sees you, and then says, "Oh."
They tend to do a double take, and they see me for some reason. Which, but no, I've always thought it would be that awful thing that this could be the one part that I could come out with that, you know, having played Hunt, with that dreadful line to a policeman if I ever get stopped for the wrong reasons, and turn around and say to him, "Do you know who I am?" You know, I must never let it get to that.
How do you stop the character tipping over into caricature? Because all the way through, I mean, here is somebody on the edge of a caricature police officer, and yet doesn't quite go over. Is that difficult?
It hasn't been up to now. It's down to the writing, really. It's down to Matthew Graham and Ashley Farrow, who are responsible for creating Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, and creating Hunt, in many respects. They're the key writers. And I think they pass on their knowledge to other writers coming in to say, keep it like this.
Keep it like this.
The comedy comes out of the drama in many respects. Do you know what I mean? You don't try and write funny. It just sort of comes out of the situation. We've
had Life on Mars in the 70s. We've had Ashes to Ashes in the 80s. Are you going to be able to keep DCI Hunt alive into the 1990s?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think the 90s is too recent. I was worried. I thought the 80s might be too recent. I think the whole beauty of the show like that is, and the appeal of a show like that is the nostalgia value.
Yeah.
And I think we're too soon.
90s are too, but there is another one of Ashes coming out. We're
going to start shooting in September.
And the other thing, of course, was Cranford, which was a completely different role. And great fun to get togged into 1840s gear and
yeah, I was
a rather
flipping,
moralistic character.
flitting between the decades, from the 1970s to the 1870s. No, it was fantastic. It was knowing that I was going to be doing Ashes. I wanted to find something that would be very different, to remind people that, you know, I'm not just Gene Hunt, and Cranford seemed perfect with this wonderful character who's a man sort of ahead of his time, a reformer, as opposed to Hunt, who's a bit behind his time.
Yeah, I know beating up old ladies, you see, in Cranford.
Well, a couple of close runs with the Dench and Aikens, but otherwise.
All right, well, listen, thank you very much for coming, and let's just see a clip of Cranford at the end. Thank you. Just briefly joined by Douglas Alexander and Philip Glenister. DCI Hunt's verdict on it all?
On what? Rubbish. I don't know.
Do you watch you watch Life on Mars?
Life on Mars, I do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there is a kind of sort of populist revolt going on around sort of political correctness in the country? These guys got to listen to?
I mean, yes, I do. I think it's sort of, everybody feels certainly, you know, a whole nanny state thing kicking in, and I think we're all kind of feeling that, and maybe we should just all lighten up and be trusted a little bit. But common sense is what we're lacking in this country now.
All of us.
More common sense.
All right. OK, well, on that thought, thank you very much indeed to everybody. That's all we've got time for this week. Do join me again next Sunday. Until then, sit out with your barbecues. If the sun is shining, I hope it is. Good morning, and thank you.